All right, we are almost live. Two people have already liked it. That's kind of crazy. No, that's all right. I have you muted right now. We just lost you, so no. Here we go. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Daniel Timtim. Welcome to our ukulele workshop. For those of you that this is your first time, we have these from Dave's Island Instruments every other Saturday. Just what we wanted to do is just to share ukulele knowledge, have a spot for people to actually get the information that they need for ukuleles. And today we have a special guest today, so it's going to be pretty awesome. Not only are you going to get some ukulele knowledge, but you're also going to get to hear from somebody that I've got to know over the last couple of years, and I'm excited to bring this person on. But before we get started, I'm just going to give you a little DII. We've been getting a lot of calls about if we're still open and if you can come in and check out hand pans or ukuleles. And yes, you can. Just feel free to go to our website, and we have appointments, and it's by appointment only. Make sure you can make the appointments 24 hours in advance, and we will be there for you to help you with any of your needs. So, just remember that when if you need some help from us or you need to get some product or whatever. Also, today is actually kind of a special day. I met this young lady 13 years ago. It's my stepdaughter, and today she just turned 18. And I just kind of want to give her, and this is, let's see, oops, this was her when I met her, and this is her today. And I just wanted to say happy birthday to my sweet stepdaughter, Kaylee. She's turned 18 and she's jumping into the adult world. So happy birthday, girlie. Also, yesterday was my mom's birthday, and I just wanted to say happy birthday to my mom. I talked with her yesterday, and everything is good, and I'm excited. Nowadays it's important to stay in touch with your family, and especially in these times. So hopefully everybody's staying safe out there, especially in these times. So I'm excited. I think that's all I have for Dave's Island Instruments. Actually, I went to Ohana the other day, and I was checking out some ukuleles, and they have some great new ukuleles that they have coming out, and also they have a custom. They're going to start doing customs. Hi, Gary. How you doing? Thanks for the happy 18th to Kaylee and Gary. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Gary's on. And actually, I want to thank Gary since he's on. I have some great students, and I have this ukulele here, if you guys see it. It's a Martin ukulele, and I don't know what I did to deserve this, but Gary actually gifted me this beautiful tenor T1K Koa ukulele, and I'm excited about it. I've been playing it a little bit, but if you guys don't know, this is the ukulele that is saying "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" on. Was actually a Martin, so here it is. Gary, you the man. Thank you very much. I like displaying it because it's a beautiful ukulele. All right. So, without further ado, I like to just bring on this next gentleman. Let me just read a little bit about his bio. This guy is awesome. It's funny because I was talking to him earlier. We were doing a sound check, and he's like, I don't know if I'm as good as all the other people that you're bringing on, but I can tell you this gentleman, from the very first time I saw him, I was like, wow, this guy's an amazing, not only ukulele player, but he's a musician. He's a LA-based multi-instrumentalist, a band leader, a freelance traditional jazz musician. He's a leader in a band called Big Butter Jazz Band. There's also Holy Crow Jazz Band and JC Jazz Crew. Bio Bump. He plays everything from guitar, bass, banjo, ukulele, percussion, and he's done several jazz festivals, French Quarter in New Orleans. I know when Disneyland is open, he gigs over at Disneyland, so that's an awesome dream for a lot of people, which is awesome. But, I could say a lot about this gentleman. I've known him for the last couple of years, and not only has he been a great friend, he's taught me a lot with the ukulele, and I love to watch him play. So without further ado, let's give it up for Mr. Conrad, and he will be playing a song for you. And here is Conrad Cayman. Here he is.
How you doing, everybody? Here, I'm going to start off with a tune called I'm Confessing That I Love You. And I think it's from the early 30s. I'm confessing that I love you. Tell me, do you love me too? I'm confessing that I need you. Honest, I do. I need you every moment. In your eyes I read such strange things that your lips deny are true. Will your answer really change things, making me blue? I'm afraid someday you'll leave me, saying can't we still be friends? If you go, you know you'll grieve me. All in life on you depends. My guessing that you love me, dreaming dreams of you in vain. Those were the wrong lyrics, by the way. I'm confessing that I love you over again. I'm afraid someday you'll leave me, saying can't we still be friends? If you go, you know you'll grieve me. All in life on you depends. Am I guessing that you love me, dreaming dreams of you in vain? I'm confessing that I love you over again, over again. I'm confessing that I love you over again. Let's get that chord right.
Wow, awesome.
Oh,
All right, let me bring us.
it really shows when you haven't had a gig in 4.5 months.
Oh wow, but yeah, you sound awesome as always, Conrad. Thanks for being on with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just called him the other day. I like to bring people on because I know people get tired of listening to me, but honestly, I've had a couple guests on, professional ukulele players, and I just want people to hear from you guys because as musicians, you guys we always see you when you're good, but you never see you when you actually started out or what you actually went through to get to where you want to be. So I love these interviews because not only for our listeners or watchers out there, but for me personally, because I love to hear the stories that you guys have, and most musicians have like a great story, so it's pretty awesome. Thanks, Conrad, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
And nowadays, with gigs and stuff, everything's like online. If you see Conrad's, I have all his information down there. Not only does he do gigs, but he also teaches. So if you guys are looking for a great teacher and want to learn some cool jazz songs, definitely contact him. Also, he's doing this out of his kindness of his heart. So here is his Venmo and PayPal. If you enjoy his music that he's playing today, please feel free to donate or do what you like. But
I promise I'll play the other songs correctly.
but he is here on a Saturday, hanging out with us, giving us some tips. So I definitely appreciate it. So Conrad, actually,
Yes, sir.
wait, we were talking about this earlier. We met a couple years ago, right? And
Yeah, it was sometime in the September, October. I remember I had to work that night, so I could show up for the first part while everyone was gathering. But the time there was I think it was a big jam session.
uh-huh.
I think Cynthia was still living in San Francisco. Cynthia Lynn was still living in San Francisco, and I
Right,
think
right.
she came down to LA for a show, and I showed up for the beginning, and then I had to take off. But that's my memory of when I first met you because you had the camera around.
I know I'm always filming, right?
Yeah.
One of my jobs, but that's the beauty of what I do. Ukulele is I get to film you guys and I get to watch you, so I get kind of osmosis, get to learn your fingering and all that other good stuff. So awesome, actually. And you're LA based. You're here in LA.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. I know you play a lot of music and stuff like that, but let's start with some questions. I had some questions for you, actually. I know I mentioned some instruments that you play, but what besides the ukulele? But what other instruments do you play?
Well, my first instrument that I started on was accordion in third grade,
Uh-huh.
and that lasted about 8 months. And then my parents thought, oh, maybe he'll play music if we got a piano. So they got a piano, and that lasted about a year and a half. So now we're at about sixth grade. I didn't touch anything until I picked up a cousin's guitar in my senior year of high school.
Uh-huh.
And then I played just really not seriously, just kind of fiddling around the living room for most of my life. From in college, I kind of picked up electric bass and I taught myself drums when a friend went off to school on the East Coast and he goes, here, borrow my drum set. So I got to use his drums for a while and kind of figure out what, some of the basics on that. And then it just kind of grows. After 30 years, you just kind of start picking up other instruments. Currently, I'm trying to learn lap steel and tenor
Mm.
guitar.
Oh,
So
nice.
tunings. I haven't dared to pick up a horn yet, but the horns are definitely in my wish list.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Actually, that's funny you said that because I always talk about this ukulele. I like to teach ukulele, but I believe it's a musical journey, and like all the instruments that I'm starting to play because of the ukulele. And you're funny, you're talking about horns, but I just got this beautiful flute.
Nice. You know what sucks? Right now, I don't know if there's any quick fix, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I cannot see your video at all.
Oh, you can't see my video at all. Oh, okay.
No, so
Oh, okay. We're just on. Let me
you could be
make sure.
making faces at me, and I have no idea.
Oh, that's crazy, huh? That's so funny. Here, let me see if we're on the right one here. Settings. It's so awesome with live shows because we always have a technical
There's
problem.
always something.
There's always something, and
Yeah.
it might be on your
Yesterday,
side because when you switched over, I think. Yeah.
well, actually, the whole time, all day today. Yesterday, when we did the sound check, we were able to completely, and
Yeah.
everything works fine. It says
Well,
right
right
now, it
now.
says allow incoming or disabled, and then I hit enabled, and nothing shows up.
Oh man. All right. Well, we'll
So,
just run with it
okay,
right now. That's cool.
run with it. Yeah.
We'll run with No time
Rather
to
than me
troubleshoot right
staring at
now.
the screen, kind of figuring things out.
And if you guys are watching out there, I know there's a few people watching. Just let us know if there's any issues, with sound or the video. I know this is these live shows. Sometimes the technology, it doesn't matter what you do, it just happens. Every single time I have a problem, but that's awesome.
Live show, live broadcast,
Yeah,
always.
yeah, exactly. It's awesome. But yeah, and the instruments, it's funny. Like I think we were talking before, because one of my big thing is teach yourself to play ukulele. And I think you mentioned that you didn't go to music school and you've basically taught
Correct.
yourself. Explain that to me. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, besides the official lessons when I was, in third grade and
Hmm.
things, again, that didn't last very long to really. I mean, it gave me enough of a foundation. That's where I learned to read music, but that's a skill that disappears if you don't practice it, and especially, in third grade if you don't continue to read music. That's why I read music now like I was a third grade reader. As I'm trying to read music, it's like, I actually bombed an audition for Disney
Wow.
because I could not sight play. You're there in front of the panel, in front of all the musical directors,
Uh-huh.
and they go, "Okay, go over to the music stand and can you play those first two lines, please?" And I was just like, "I'm just not going to waste your time. It's so bad.
You couldn't read the music, and you were just like, "Wow."
Not enough to sight play it."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I've seen those music things. I wouldn't be able to do it either. So
right,
it's
and that's a whole nother skill set. Even
hmm.
within playing, you have a lot of amazing musicians throughout history who have never been able to read music.
Right.
But it's a skill set. I mean, everything that you learn improves your skill set.
Hmm.
And it just helps. Nowadays, when you're researching an old song, like a jazz song that you might not be able to find on YouTube,
Hmm.
and you're wondering how the melody is, or you're watching a singer that really embellishes the melody,
Hmm.
a great source to go back to is the original sheet music. And if you are able to read it and say, oh, the melody actually does this, like an example is Tonight You Belong to Me,
Uh-huh.
which from the Jerk, everyone knows this on ukulele. I know you belong to somebody
Somebody
new.
new.
That version of the melody came later by Prudence and something. I can't remember who the group is, but it was like two P names. But the
Uh-huh.
original melody was, "Do I know you belong to somebody new?" And there wasn't that ooh that you hear in the Jerk, but that became like the most commonly known version of it. So
Wow.
nowadays, when everyone covers it, um, they use that version of the melody. And in this case, I'm totally fine with it. But just to understand, it's like, oh, it actually did have a different melody when the song first came out.
Hmm. Yeah, it's funny because it's funny you say that because like as I look up songs with just the regular song sheets and stuff, and then I have to look at like the keys because some are in like guitar or some are in like ukulele, but then I try to match it with the original song, and if it's not the original song, I try to do it from the beginning and then
Right.
build it from there. So that's
Yeah.
awesome that you said that.
Technology is a double-edged sword. I
Yeah.
mean, I love the fact that there's like Ultimate Guitar Archive and Uku tabs and Uku
Hmm.
chords.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many sites that have tablature, but it's always subject to whoever wrote it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like you have to like fix it to what you want, and that's it's funny because like in the beginning when I was doing this, I was talking to Cynthia, how do you write those sheets? I was asking all the teachers and they were like, you just got to write it. And I was like, oh my God. I thought there was like a program or something that did it, but you have to write all those
And
sheets out. It's like,
it's not bad because music is, in a way, it's like oral tradition. If you take a folk tale that's been passed down from generation,
mm,
each person tells it, and then the next generation that tells it puts a little bit of a spin, puts a little bit of their taste on it, and as you track it through the generations, it could have completely morphed from its original point.
yeah.
So there are songs that we do that I know if I go to New Orleans, they play it like this,
Uh-huh.
or my friends from New York say, "Oh no, it's this chord to this chord." And no, but we do it this way here on the West Coast. So it's understanding those traditions. It's really kind of cool to see how songs develop. And
Develop
again,
and
it's just
yeah.
part of the skill set.
No, it's kind of crazy because like I always thought like, oh, I have to sing the song exactly like I thought that in the beginning, but once I started playing,
Right.
I found that I feel better and the song comes out if I just sing it the way that I like to do it, and
Yeah,
that's bringing I think we talked about this before, bringing the music out of you instead of trying to copy something else, which is
absolutely.
awesome. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm glad you said that. Oh, see, that's what I love
Yeah,
about these interviews. I learn something new every time. It's awesome.
yeah, like painters, some painters will, are just replicate
Yeah,
a famous painting, and other ones put, their own spin into
their
it.
own
So
spin
yeah,
on it.
same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Same thing.
I'm finding it's so amazing to me because I'm so new to the music world, and I'm finding like all the parallels to other worlds, and it's like it's pretty awesome. So cool. We talked about instruments, ukulele. I like talking about that because everybody teach yourself ukulele, but you're gonna start playing other instruments. It's kind of crazy once you get the bug. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
And the biggest thing that I always talk about, like for ukulele players, especially if they're beginners, because normally this is, this live show is geared towards beginners. But one of the big questions I always ask in the beginning is, why ukulele? Why do you want to play? And I think that's important because sometimes, as I was playing, I remembered my fingers started to hurt and my hands started to hurt. And then I was like, do I have the right position? All this other stuff. There's all these little things that I could see that could cause somebody to quit. Like, my fingers hurt, I can't get that chord, all that other stuff. So what I feel is like if you have a good why, you'll go through it. You go through the process of the pain that there is that you actually do when you play instruments. But what is your why? Why do you like the ukulele? And I've seen all your stuff, and you play ukulele quite a bit. And what do you like about it? And what is your why for that?
Number one, portability. I love playing upright bass, but certain gigs it's not so fun to drag it up. Try to manage a staircase.
Yeah, I remember that last gig you did with Cynthia. That was so funny. You're like, where do I put it?
I have so much empathy for drummers, having to carry all of that gear every time. It's beautiful to, just stick this in a gig bag, put it over your shoulder and you're done.
Yes.
Right. I love the portability of it. Coming from guitar, and then going into traditional jazz meaning early jazz from, say, even from 1900 up until 1930s, 1940s. And a lot of times the main instrument back then was a 4-string banjo.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I dove deeper into that world, getting exposed to 4 strings that way was my intro to that. The plectrum banjo, which is a long scale 4-string banjo. Most of what you hear in like is the 5-string.
Yeah.
But 4-string banjos are strummed, just like an ukulele is. So one of the tunings that they use is the same as the baritone tuning, D, G, B, E, which is the top 4 strings of a guitar. So my natural transition was to go from guitar to plectrum banjo in D, G, B, E. And then someone said, oh, by the way, baritone ukes are done the same way. It's like, great, I'll try out a baritone. And then I went from there. And then, sorry if I get a little long-winded, but I ended up playing concert and tenor because I was subbing for a friend who taught at UCLA, his guitar class. And he goes, hey, can you fill in for me for a couple of weeks? And then,
just like that, right?
Yeah, just like that. And I realized they didn't have an ukulele class, and I knew ukulele was getting, bigger in popularity. Yeah, and so I went to the supervisor of the whole program, who I knew, and I said, you know what, you might want to look into having an ukulele class. And he thought, he goes, yeah, we should. We should. Would you want to teach that? I'm like, yes, I would. So I ran out, and I said, okay, I need to learn how to play tenor in concert. So I literally ran down to Boulevard Music here in Culver City, and that's when I bought my first Ohana, because they had the banjolele on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, if I learned to play this, I could use this on gigs.
Yeah, totally.
Because banjolele has we could talk about that a little bit. Yeah. Banjolele has its roots in jazz as well. So I'm like, if I do this, I can learn for the class and learn for a gig. So that was my first venture into tenor. And,
wow.
There,
I love how you use like history on why you want to play like something. It's pretty awesome. It's amazing. I love that. Well,
there is a duty to the music, because we do want to preserve this old music and this old jazz, following in the steps of like Janet Klein and Ian Whitcomb and Casey McGill, who are like the modern troubadours of that old style, the champions of that old style, even to the newer generation like Christopher Davis Shannon and Ginger Johnson, and there's a group on Facebook dedicated to ukulele music from the 1900s, and they say you're not allowed to post anything past 1940, so, or I'm sorry, 55, because it's all Tin Pan Alley.
Oh,
So
that's cool. No, I've heard about Tim. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so awesome. I know we were talking about that earlier, how that time, ukuleles were very popular, and I
mhm.
believe it's come back, and
Yeah,
now people are like, again doing like the 20s. And actually, from what I see in the ukulele world, um, as far as popularity of the ukuleles, I think 2 years ago, ukuleles surpassed acoustic guitars in sales in the United
I did
States.
hear that
So
as well.
yeah, so it's like I see the new generation coming up, and the cool thing is, like, you're talking about jazz, and normally people think of a ukulele as Hawaiian music,
Mhm.
and you play primarily jazz, which is super cool, and I love that versatility of the
Yeah, I
ukulele.
think today it really can be used for any type style of music. Most of the people that my friends on Instagram are covering modern music,
Hmm. No, I do that a lot too, so
right? So
I like to cover a lot. Cool.
it's when you look at it like a painting, uh, you can use any color you want
Hmm.
to paint, uh, and it's just your ability to combine those colors or find a way to use that color to create the painting or the get the visual that you want. So ukulele might not be great for, say, a death metal album.
It could. They have those electric
Yeah,
keyboards.
you can have like a quiet instrumental interlude. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's use the right tool for the job, and
Yeah,
then your
yeah.
creativity on pulling that in.
That's cool. All right. Well, why ukulele? Anything else on why ukulele?
That's the main thing, and then now I've really wanted to get more into Hawaiian music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as we talk more about the history, ukulele was really popular in the 1920s. Was used in a lot of vaudeville acts, and they obviously heard the Hawaiian musicians as well. I mean, there were a lot of songs that were written in Tin Pan Alley about Hawaii and the whole fantasy of this tropical paradise thing. So there's a lot of songs from the 30s and 20s that reference Hawaii in
Mm-hmm.
that. And so I wanted I started by learning those songs. And then a musician from Hawaii had told me, it's like, by the way, some of those songs are not really like when she said when she was growing up, you just didn't play these songs in Hawaii.
Wow.
There was just this stigma against them. But there's the Hawaiian musicians that were in Hollywood in the 30s, that worked with Louis Armstrong and worked with all these greats and worked on movies. Um, Saul Hoopy and so many of these Hawaiian musicians that were in LA and Hollywood. But that kind of led me to, okay, if these songs are not looked well upon, what are the songs that are
Mm-hmm.
looked well upon? And so that's where I'm currently trying to venture towards, is learning kind of like a Hawaiian repertoire that pays homage not necessarily just to the Hollywood
Mm-hmm.
version of Hawaii, but old Hawaiian music, because Hollywood wouldn't have happened without the Hawaiian stuff.
Right, 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 right.
So it's all kind of going in circles and tracing.
I love what you're talking about, because that, yeah, we should work together on that, because I want to learn more Hawaiian songs. All my family's from Hawaii, and it's funny I don't play a lot of Hawaiian songs, but I
And
want to.
Cynthia lives there. Abe grew up there.
Yeah.
There's so many people that we have as resources.
Yeah, I know, it's so funny. So yeah, maybe we should do something. Yeah, we'll talk more.
Yeah.
We'll get something together. That'd be cool. All right. So my next question would be ukulele influences, I would say.
Ooh. Influences. Ukulele Ike.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Royce Smack. George Formby. All these are old, like
The old 20s.
old,
Yeah.
old 20s players. Um, as far as the champions of the music, I went back to Janet Klein and Casey McGill, and Ian Whitcomb was really important. He just passed away in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Ian Whitcomb was a member of the British Invasion. He had a rock song that got big in the 60s, and he ended up touring with the Rolling Stones and the Kinks and uh, being on a lot of TV shows. But he rock wasn't really for him. And then when he went from the UK to the US, he went over to Tin Pan Alley in New York and started interviewing all these old songwriters
Uh-huh.
and really started to champion that. And then he's written several books about these ukulele players from the 20s and the 30s and all the songs, and he's compiled a bunch of different songbooks. And so my wife knew him for years at vintage events here in LA and introduced me to him a couple of years ago. And we started to talk shop, and he found out that I played ukulele, and he got excited. He had a stroke in 2012, and that took away his ability to play.
Mm-hmm.
So when he played accordion and ukulele were his two big instruments that he would go out and gig on. So after 2012 I didn't start jazz until 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really got to see him play. When I did get to see him, he was usually singing, and it was kind of sporadic. And then in the last 2 years, his wife invited us over to the house after an event, and we got to talk shop, and he showed me a couple of books, and he showed me performances. He's played ukulele on the Tonight Show just as much as Tiny Tim.
Wow.
And his first hit in the 60s, Where Did Robinson Crusoe Go on a Saturday Night? Actually, if I'm right, was before Tiny Tim had Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Wow.
So Tiny Tim got all the notoriety. Yeah, and Tiny Tim did his part for the old music as well, but Ian Whitcomb to me was more important. And then, unfortunately, unfortunately, he passed away in 2020, just in April.
Wow.
So,
Oh, and I forgot. Actually, you said your wife. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Conrad just got recently married in the last couple weeks. Yes, newlywed. Awesome.
5 weeks.
5 weeks. All right, cool. Newlywed and. Awesome, especially in this time. He had a Zoom. I missed the wedding. I'm sorry about that, but
No worries.
We'll have a reception after COVID reception. Yeah.
Planning on it.
That's awesome. Cool.
All right.
Wow, that's pretty amazing because you have a lot of different ukulele players and they have a lot of different influences, and then some of yours are like the jazz influences and stuff like that, which is so awesome. I love that. I want to talk to you. I love your knowledge of the history. I want to talk more about that later on. So cool. Yeah. So let's get into some tips. I know there's a lot of beginners out there. We have some people on, but I love to bring you guys on because because of the tips that you can give, and especially for the beginners, as they begin. Maybe you can share with us 3 tips for beginners.
Sure.
That'd be pretty awesome.
I wish I had written these down. But one of the first
Here,
ones...
I'm gonna give you the screen so you can have it by yourself. Here we
go. The first thing that I tell people is that just like a piano, if you're going to play piano, you don't have to hit all 88 keys at once. We have 4 strings to choose from, which means we can play 1 through 4 strings at a time. So a lot of times when people are complaining, say, what's the big chord that everyone complains about? The E chord. The E major chord, and it's because it's this weird thing, and they're like, oh, I hate the E chord, and people will not play songs just because of the E chord. So E chord is what, a 4/4, and then a 2 up on the A string. So why not just play that 4/4/4 and then mute that A string? It takes a little bit of accuracy to only strum the G, C, and E strings, but here's a version of E that takes 1 finger, and then you don't have to worry about trying to get this in there, which even to me is not that comfortable. Or doing this version, maybe you don't have the pinky strength to do this version of E yet. So that would be my first tip. The number 2 is play a little bit each day. Doesn't have to be a long time. They've talked about little bits of practice do just as much benefit as doing 2 hours straight. There is something to be said about really drilling in for an hour straight on something, but play for a little bit each day. And if you are having problems with chords, don't worry about strumming yet. You can isolate one hand or the other. If you are having issues with, let's say a B flat to an E7 chord. Don't know why you'd use that particular progression, but just because you can be watching TV, you can be watching YouTube, Netflix, and your wife is next to you on the couch, or the dog is sleeping, you don't want to wake it up. Go ahead and mute the string. Grab it, wrap a sock around it, whatever, and then just fret your chords. that and just get used to that. And once it starts to get subconscious and you can watch the screen and pay attention to the story without having to think about your hands, or the person next to you on the couch asks you a question and you can respond to their question and come up with what you're going to say while still doing that chord change, you're still practicing. It might not be the same as this, but you're getting at least one hand done. And then the flip side of that is, okay, so a lot of people ask about strumming and strumming patterns. How do I strum? How do I do this rhythm? One of the best things I ever saw was a late night infomercial in the 90s with Jeff Skunk Baxter of the Doobie Brothers. And he had a VHS series on how to play guitar. The guitar is a percussive instrument. And he wanted people to remember that. And he said, so...
we just lost your video.
Lost my video. I still have video on here.
I think we're
Can you hear me?
we just lagged.
I still see my own video.
Something just happened. Sorry for technical difficulties, everybody. Hold on a second. We totally lost you for some reason. Let me check. Yeah, we still have your audio. Keep on talking. You can talk.
Okay, I can play a song while you figure out how to...
Yeah, go for that.
To pull that. Okay, so we'll get back to the tips in a second, and we'll move to the song. This one's from 1918, and it's called Someday Sweetheart. Someday, sweetheart, you will be sorry for what you've done to my poor heart.
Did you? It's... I don't know what happened. I think we just got disconnected from the video from yours. So can you reset? Like, yeah, hang up and come back in. That'd be cool. All right, cool. Sorry if everybody out there, but you know, his tips were pretty awesome about the E. That was pretty cool. Also, he was talking about the doing practice. Doing your switches while you're watching TV. When he was saying that, like, we were talking about this yesterday, and it's funny because all his like little practices that we actually did, um, they that's what I was doing when I was actually playing. So it was kind of crazy. Let's see if he's gonna be getting on a meeting. Did I start the call? Here we go. Start call. Boom. Start call. Yeah, let's see if this works. Are we on? Oh, we're back. Yay, Conrad. All right. Hey, good, good, good. Here we go. We're gonna go back to you. Function 3. Oh, wait, hold on. Function command 3. What the heck happened? There you go. Awesome.
Okay. So where did we leave off? We left off on
We were
tips,
on
the rhythm tips.
The rhythm tips, yes.
Right, so we talked about isolating the left hand, muting the strings, and just going through whatever chord progression seems to be bugging you at the moment. You can isolate between two chords. Maybe there's a song and this one portion is really bugging you. So pick those two chords that you're transitioning, or three chords that you're transitioning from, and just repeat those over and over again. Once you have that, then you can start to add in the second hand. The other one was isolating the right hand. I watched the episode that you had with Abe Lagrimas, and he had said, the chord shapes are going to stay the same. The left hand is going to stay the same regardless of what style you play. Where your sound comes out is in your right hand. Mm-hmm. And I really love that quote. It's absolutely so true. So if you want to really work your right hand, go ahead and mute the strings and do this. So Jeff Skunk Baxter of the Doobie Brothers had said, play it like a drum kit and make a beat. Right? It's simple. It's like, okay, that makes sense, play it like a drum. But then when you start to add in the chords, sudden takes this whole complex quality to it, and then you don't have to explain to somebody oh, by the way, it's down, down, up, 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 down, 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 up. You hold on beat 3, and then up, up, down, 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 up, 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 down. Right? That always cracks me up when people ask, what is the strumming pattern? And that's an absolutely valid question. But sometimes you're trying to come up with a description of a strumming pattern that some professional did in the studio because that's what their hand was feeling at the time. And they didn't write down was they were going to play this song. Oh, I'm going to go down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Right? So to me, it's just like sometimes you don't have to, just because that's the strumming pattern, I guess this is the tip I wanted to get to, is just because that's the strumming pattern doesn't mean you have to mimic it exactly as is. It's good to be able to, as we talked about earlier, being able to reproduce that sound. But one thing about this old jazz, there is absolutely no shame because you're part of the rhythm section in these old jazz tunes. And the strumming pattern, get ready for this because it's really complex, is down, 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 down. Literally, that is your job as a swing guitarist, is 10,000 times a night. And in the context of the band, it sounds great. And actually, you get more respect as a traditional jazz rhythm player if you can just sit there and hit those downstrokes, because you are an additional timekeeper along with the bass player, with the drummer, and the piano player. So it's not always about fancy strumming. That said, when you're playing solo and you're creating an arrangement for yourself, mix it up. if there is a difficult section of a song, say the song is calling for a really complex strumming pattern, um, let's take the song that I did earlier, I'm Confessing That I Love You, and we'll speed this up. And then the bridge, you can go. Ba-da-da-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba, ba-ba. Right, so you can create this dynamic tension or this different dynamic by just hitting a break there. Or on the other end of this is, let's pick another tune. Let's just do the one that I just did. Someday Sweetheart. You can play it really quiet, nice and gentle, and then go. Right, and really kind of play with dynamics and go from soft to loud. So by using, you can use the strumming pattern to kind of layer those textures. Without having to just constantly think, oh, I'm just going to keep doing this up, up, down, 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 up, 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 down, down pattern the entire time.
So that
does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally
I don't know if
makes.
that's.
No, honestly,
I have so many little shortcuts.
No. Honestly, what you just said, because a lot of people actually ask me that, like, what's the strumming pattern? And in my classes, I never teach it. It's like I teach people like the 4-beat, like just up or up down, just get into the rhythm. And then what I try to do is guide them through it as I play, and then give them that rhythm so they can mess with it. And I just don't. I don't give them specific down up or whatever.
If I had one more tip to give, this is something I did a lot of when I started. I know you're supposed to play to a metronome, and all professional musicians will say, "Yeah, practice to your metronome, practice to your metronome." I'm a horrible wannabe musician, and I don't get to practice to metronome too much. But what I do.
We're in the same boat, man.
But what I did practice to a lot growing up was playing along to recordings. So if you have a recording, and again, sometimes the recordings are just not going to be in a key you like. If you're a beginner and then all of a sudden it's just like, wait, that's an F sharp chord? How the heck do I do an F sharp? Beautiful thing now is you can kind of, you can transpose once you learn it. But if you're playing along with the recording, guess what? You're going to have to learn those chords. Yeah. And you can use that as motivation for yourself. It's like you really want to play along with this song, to put the time in and learn the chords. And then by playing along to the recordings, you're getting a similar training method to playing along to a metronome. But what you're actually doing, you're training yourself kind of almost to be in a band, because you're listening to how the song is flowing. If there's a break here, if there is a dynamic change here, what can you do so you just learned a tune that went G, G7, C to C minor. Okay, I'm getting bored because it keeps doing those same 4 chords over and over again. It's like, how can I change this? G. Starting to create those. Again, it's all about layering textures and adding to it to what the sound that you're trying to get out of it. So no one says that you have to strum the entire time. No one says you have to finger pick the entire time. An arrangement that you create is yours and yours alone. So mess with it and include anything that you want that wants to come out of you. And sometimes you'll come up with stuff that doesn't sound so good, right?
No,
and just understand that's part of the process.
Yeah. No, it's funny because like as I gig with more people and play with other people, I think that's one of the things I worry about, because I've never really played with like what are they expecting, and I'm glad you're sharing that, because I think musicians are all the same. They have the same type of thinking and they know where everybody's level is, and they're like, oh yeah, he's just doing that because he doesn't know. But
One thing,
oh, go ahead.
one thing I find really fascinating about the ukulele community is the big jam sessions that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen guitar jams where 400 people are playing in a gymnasium.
No, exactly.
Right? And it's really fascinating, and it's really heartwarming to see this many people dedicating themselves to an instrument at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So as, say, an experienced player, maybe you're shifting into intermediate, or maybe you're intermediate and shifting up into advanced. As you go to these jam sessions, you understand that the levels are going to be from complete beginners, and it's going to be mixed in throughout. So how can you still have fun at these jams playing Stand By Me for the 100th time, and it's C, A minor, F, and G over and over again. So as an intermediate player, rather than just doing this, start doing your C here, your A minor here, your F here, and your G here. And then all of a sudden the people next to you, it's like, where's that other sound coming from? Because you've got 100 people doing this, and then from somewhere they're hearing this. Right. Sorry, this thing just went out of tune.
That's all good. No, I get what you're saying, because I usually do that. Usually in jams, I practice my scales. So I'll do solos throughout the whole thing. It's kind of funny. Or what you're talking about, moving the position, because there's different positions on the board. Like you have, I don't know what they call it. What's the top, closest to your head?
The fretboard. The nut.
Is that the first
position? The nut or the headstock. Yeah, first position is here.
Is there, and then the second position.
Yeah.
I think I was.
That's another tip for as far as going from beginner to intermediate is getting away from the open voicings. Everyone learns the open voicings to start with because they're the easiest. The C takes one finger to play. The A minor takes one finger to play. The F takes 2 fingers to play. Then, oh my God, you get to G, it's like 3 fingers. I have to do 3 fingers. But once you want to get past that and you start to move towards these closed voicings, like this is a C, and you start to learn C, C, and C is here. D, and then D, E, and E up here. Your vocabulary really starts to, and the colors that you start to add. Yes. When you're playing just the open voicings, you've got one set of colors, the basic Crayola crayon box with 8 colors. Mm-hmm. And then when you buy the 64 color crayon box, you've got different shades of blue and different shades of brown and different shades of red. Yeah. So that's how you want to think of your chords.
Wow.
Can you color a picture completely artistically and fine with 8 colors? Yes.
That
right?
is, dude.
No one can argue that you can use 8 colors and be fine with it.
I love
but if you
how
have the ability, I use metaphors all the time in my teaching.
No, that's perfect because a lot of people don't realize oh yeah, that's it. I think in the beginning I thought it was more complicated, but how you explained it, the easiest thing could be the best sounding thing, and we try to embellish I need to know that technique so I can add that sound, but sometimes it's just being like how you said on your tip. All you're doing on the band is just doing this. It's funny. God, this is I love this interview with you, man.
Thank you. Any questions from the crowd, if anyone's still listening?
Not yet. If you guys have any questions, please put them down. You have Conrad here. He's awesome. All about that jazz. That's it. That should be your next song. All about that jazz.
So many hundreds and hundreds of songs.
All about that jazz. But actually, let's. The tips that you gave us, doing the E, right? That's a great tip because I know that's the hardest. Strings. Yeah.
Play 3 strings instead of 4.
Right. The next one was strumming pattern or rhythms.
Tool isolation.
Yeah. Okay. So tool isolation.
Muting the strings and just doing the chord that's bugging you, and then isolating the left hand and then isolating the right hand and playing it like a drum.
Yeah, I kind of because my big thing is keep on strumming ukulele every day,
Yeah.
and taking 15 minutes. And I know you're practice. You said you practice songs, right, instead of having a practice routine, which is cool.
Yeah.
I just teach people like just practice. You need 15 minutes, and if you could do it every day, your skill level is going to go up no matter what, because you're playing every day.
Yes and no. If you're playing the same exact thing that you're already comfortable with, that's one thing. I will say I have a notoriously short attention span. And these days, as I've grown as a musician, I used to be, just practice the same songs over and over and over again. When it comes to classical pieces and flamenco pieces, that was fun to do. And, I kind of got away from that. But now in the age of Instagram, and you're trying to come up with content and this and that, I have a real aversion to repeating songs. So I think that only 4 songs in a couple of hundred posts have been repeats.
That's
so
nice.
It's, for me,
did you do the 100-day or 100 songs?
I did the 100 days last year. Took me 180 days to do. I just don't have the discipline. So kudos to all you creators and you influencers and that can post every single day. I just don't have the time.
No, I was like, I saw Cynthia do that. Bernadette does like a 30-day, and then I was like, oh my god, I'm an editor and I'm like pretty experienced, but to get those videos out, record them, get them the quality that you want, and then doing that every day, I know that's just work.
Yeah.
Man.
I could post a throwaway clip every day, but that's not who I am personally.
Yeah.
I call it a throwaway clip for a reason. I'm going to throw it away.
Right.
If I'm going to put something out there, I need to have it to be a certain quality. And that's where like Abe was so specific, and I love Abe's integrity, and the quality that he puts into everything he does is just so top notch. And that's the other end of it, is some people just post a Instagram story of them practicing. Right. And the other end is like, no, I have to have this fully produced. I have to hire a videographer, and it has to be like a professional video shoot. You got these two extremes. So where do you personally choose that you want to fit in the spectrum? And I try to kind of go in between. I won't go to this extreme, but at the same time, I'm not going to post something that's going to be tossed away.
Well, I just feel like just having these live shows like this, it's about getting information, because I'm just thinking of myself in the beginning, trying to find ukulele information. Who do I talk to? And it was tough. I didn't know who the people were. It's not like you hear about ukulele players all the time, but it is a big community, and you don't. There's the information's kind of scattered, so I try to bring it together so people.
There's almost too much information now.
Yeah.
You can find 30 different instructors on YouTube.
Yes.
And I thought about going that route, and I went, "Oh, that's such a saturated market."
I think there's a lot, but it's the ones that are good are the ones that stand out. You know what I mean? And that's I think it's good. It's just good competition, and it excels people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's where you would have to, again, if you are someone who wants to go to that online teaching route, I guess where you have to find your niche is doing songs that no one else does. They can already look up 15 different teachers teaching Riptide.
Yeah.
So why not pick something that other people do? So
that's
why
over the rainbow.
Right.
Or play somewhere over the rainbow? I don't know.
So that's why I like teachers like Christopher Davis Shannon. On the East Coast, because his niche, he's teaching these old jazz tunes.
That's so cool. I love
it. And there's a guy, Nikos Bastunis. He's in the Tin Pan Alley group on Facebook, and he's just starting online tutorials and videos with these. So again, if you see it parallels the whole journey as an individual musician of what is your voice, what are you going to speak, what are you going to say as an artist. Same thing as a teacher. Do I want to say the same thing as everyone else that might actually teach it better than me? Cynthia will probably teach this song and this song and this song way better than I could. So why do I need to rehash something that Cynthia did already so well, or any of the teachers have done so well? Just let's if we as the teachers look at this as a community,
rather than us fighting for the same audience.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
each
yeah,
song,
yeah. I
if
get it.
we split the songs, then the student can really search out that repertoire that
That that
speaks to them.
that they're actually looking for, and that's why I have this. I want to bring on different people. Like Abe was jazz, like
Mhm.
he's crazy high end jazz. You're like more of a 20s
Earlier
jazzy,
jazz,
early,
yeah.
yeah, earlier jazz. And then I have the Lee sisters that were on, and they do pop and Hawaiian music, stuff like that. So there's a lot of different genres that you can find that'll help you excel in ukulele, because I find it, you want to play the music that you love, not that
Yes,
somebody says you should.
100%. 100%.
Because you're not gonna have a good time if you're trying to play songs that, like, yeah,
Exactly.
it's
That's
a
why I
popular
quit
song.
piano in
Mm.
fourth grade. Is
Oh
because
wow.
they're making you play tunes that you don't want to play.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, if they had said if they were making play like Blondie and Madonna songs or Go Go songs on the piano, I probably would have had more stuck with the piano. But
Awesome. Well, hey, Conrad, we're towards the
right
end
at
of
an
our
hour.
time. We don't have
Okay.
any questions right now, but I love your music, and maybe you
Thank you,
can
sir.
leave us with a great song. For your,
I'll yeah, sure.
you were
Um,
talking about old 20s. I know he brought out this book, fellas. Oh yeah, I know 90 songs, so it was hard for him to pick.
it's hard to pick that, seriously.
I know,
And then
I
and
totally
then
get it.
trying to flip with these, I kind of ran into some mental issues. I play both baritone and concert a lot,
Yeah.
but when I play too much of this, then this one gets confused, right? So I ran into that twice today, where I was thinking in the other instrument. So let's see if I
The
can actually.
troubles of a multi instrumentalist, right?
Yeah,
But
this
you
is a song.
guys, oh wait,
Oh,
wait,
sorry.
hold on. Let me give you a send away. But thank
Okay.
you for being on. You guys check out his Insta, check out his Facebook, especially on his Insta. Like, he does all these cool multi instruments, and it's all one him playing. But it's cool. You just gotta check out his Instagram. He does some cool songs with multi him playing all these different instruments. It's cool.
Send a message, say hello, leave a comment.
Yes, yes. And then YouTube, he has a YouTube channel. Definitely check that out. I know there's going to be a lot more content. That's what it is about nowadays. And then don't forget his Venmo and his PayPal. Thank you for being on. Leave him a tip. All of us are.
Oh, and then I am working on a couple of ukulele jazz albums.
Mm,
Bandcamp during the pandemic is waiving their revenue share the first Friday of every month,
hmm.
and they're giving 100% of the money is back to the artist.
Awesome.
So
So do you know
yeah.
when
It-
possibly when this is
um,
going to come out?
well, I don't think I'll get them done. Like I have two albums that are available on Bandcamp already, one from the Big Butter Jazz Band and one from the JC Jazz Crew.
Hmm.
I'm hoping by the next one in September. I have 2 weeks to record an album, but have some other stuff going on.
Cool.
So probably let's shoot for September, the first
September.
Saturday, first
I'll,
Friday of September.
I'll tell you what. I'll leave you a space in September,
Okay,
and then we'll bring you back on for some
we'll
more
do this
tips,
again.
and
Oh,
then
thanks.
we'll share with everybody your album, which will be awesome. So,
Okay,
thank you
cool.
for being on, Conrad. It's
Thanks for
always a
having me.
pleasure talking with you. But if anybody doesn't have any questions, definitely, or you have time to write questions right now, but I'm just gonna leave you with Conrad. And after we're done, we'll have you send off, and you'll be good to go. All right,
Okay,
thanks, Conrad, and here you are.
all right. This is tuned to a student to learn. So. Um, I know why I've waited. Know why I've been blue. Prayed each night for someone exactly like you. Why should we spend money on a show or two? No one does those love scenes exactly like you. You make me feel so great. I wanna hand the world to you. You seem to understand each foolish little scheme I'm scheming, dream I'm dreaming. Now I know why mother to be true. She meant me for someone exactly like you. You make me feel so great. I wanna hand the world to you. You seem to understand each foolish little scheme I'm scheming, dream I'm dreaming. Now I know my mother taught me to be true. She meant me for someone exactly like you.
Bring me back
And I
up.
didn't start playing baritone in the middle of that.
That's awesome. All right, Conrad. Thanks for being on. I guess we're gonna see each other in September when the new album comes out,
Awesome,
and
awesome.
there's all his information. You guys, if you guys have any other questions, I'm sure we can get back with him, and his email's on there, so you guys
All
can
right.
definitely contact him for lessons or anything like that. So.
Yep.
Again, thank you, Conrad. It's been a
Thank you
great
for having me.
Saturday. I enjoyed spending it with you, and I
Yeah,
can't
absolutely.
wait for next time. And we
Yeah.
will finish now. See you guys later. Aloha. Doo.